Hello and welcome to Dice and Demons. I'm Emma, and in this video I want to show you how I paint my Maulerfiend for my Chaos Space Marine army. So I start off with a model that has been primed using the Wraithbone spray, and then I take one of the contrast paints from the Citadel range. This one is called Velopus Pink, and I put that on the armor panel here, as you can see. And as you can tell here, it doesn't get, quite a smooth finish. It's a little bit splotchy and uneven, and I don't care at all because I'm going to be covering the entire thing with all sorts of highlights and shadows, so it doesn't really matter to me. Next up, for the sort of the skin, it looks like some sort of muscly texture. I use two contrast paints. I use Talazar Blue, the darker blue one, and I use Aethematic Blue, the sort of light turquoise one, and then I just do a quick wet blend here, and I try to make sure that I have the darkest parts of the Talazar Blue at the end of the muzzle and then the lighter part in the middle to give it a sort of nice color variation or a gradient across the model here. Then I take another contrast paint. This one is Pterodon Turquoise, which is a really nice dark turquoise color, and I start filling in the pattern that I want on the armor panel here. I don't really know what to call this pattern. Sort of, some people say it looks like feathers or leaves or something. I want to keep them as far as possible. I want to keep them sort of a nice pointy design, because then it makes it easier for me to highlight when I get to that stage. I also use the Pterodon Turquoise to put in some texture on the flesh or the muscles, and I just mainly do these quite long stripes along the muscle just to give it a little bit more definition and a little bit more visual interest, really. Then I had forgotten that I wanted the top part of the patterns here to be orange, so instead of doing a wet blend, which I would normally have done using a perhaps Gryph-hound Orange, the contrast paint, I fill in some of the some of them just with a bit of orange color. I don't even remember which orange this was, just a plain orange color, really. And then for highlighting the patterns, I start off with a nice neon color. This one is called Pulse Wave Pink. It's from Huge Miniatures, and as you can see, I sort of just outline each leaf or each flame or whatever you want to call these, and leave a little bit of the darker pink tone in the middle, again to give a bit of color variation and to make it look like you have the light coming from above on each tiny panel. Then for the next highlight, I take another paint from Huge Miniatures. This one is called Cyber Pink, and it's just a bit of a lighter pink. So you can see here it creates sort of the illusion that you have light coming from the top, and I think it perhaps gives it sort of a stained glass window-y look to it. I really like the way the different colors work together here. Then for the final highlight for the pink parts here, I use a pure white. This one is matte white from the Army Painter. And as you can see, I just only put it on the top of each tiny panel because I want to make sure I still have some bright neon pink going on and not something that looks too pastel or perhaps too much like it came out of the, the My Little Pony range. And then I go on to highlight the orange panels, and for this I also use a pink paint from Huge Miniatures, and this one is called Laser Orange, which I think is a lovely name. And I have the exact same process as I did with the pink. And then for the next highlight I use Flashgitz Yellow, just on the top, and then I just add a tiny touch of Wraithbone at the very edge of the orange panels, again to give a nice vibrant highlight without going too much overboard and turning it too pastel. Then I go back to my Pterodon Turquoise, the contrast paint, and I just add a tiny tiny stripe at the bottom of each panel, just to really sell the illusion of light and shadow. So you have something that looks almost black at the bottom, and then you have something pure white or beige at the very top. Then I grab another contrast paint. This one is called Black Legion, and as the name suggests, it's a black paint. And I use that to do sort of a black line around each tiny panel to make sure that they really pop. So you can really tell the difference between each tiny panel. And I also do a black outline all around the gold trim to sort of highlight that you have these very different textures and these very different colors, which I just think the black line really helps to sell that idea. Then lastly, I go back to my white paint, and I use that to highlight the sort of corrupted, muscled flesh thing that he's got going on underneath his armor. And I just, again, like I did the shadows, I just do sort of long stripes to sort of underline the way the muscles move underneath here. And here you can see the finished result. This took, I'm not gonna lie, people sometimes ask me, so how long does it take you to do a model? Doesn't painting like this take for, ages? And I usually say, well, it's not too bad. But this one actually took quite a long time. There are so many different tiny little details and parts to this model. So it took quite a long time to finish. But I will have to say I had fun doing it. And it's a very cool model when you have it all built up and ready to go. And I can't really wait to put him on a tabletop and play some games with him. I don't really know whether or not this model is actually, good in game. But I don't really care because I think it looks cool. And it was really fun to paint. And this is a Maulerfiend, so this is the close combat version. And perhaps I want to paint another one, but then this time I could do a Forge Fiend. So that would be the shooty version. That would be quite cool. This is what it ended up looking like, and I'm really pleased with it, and I'm happy I spent the time it took to get it all done. This has been a project that has been lying around on my painting desk for months. I don't really know why. I just sort of stopped painting it, and I was afraid I would never get back to it. So it feels really, really nice to actually have it all painted up and ready to go. And if you have been following my channel for any length of time, you probably know I almost always do this at the end of the videos. I have to show off how it looks under a UV light. And as always, when you use neon paints, this is so much fun. It has no practical use whatsoever. I don't think I have ever actually heard about anyone playing a game under a UV light or anything. But I mean, it just looks fun. So there you go. It's a little bit silly, but it looks fun. So that was what I wanted to show you today. If you have any comments or questions or anything, please let me know in the comments section below. And as always, I appreciate it if you would consider liking this video or even subscribing to my channel. And remember, you can always follow my painting projects over at Instagram and Twitter, where you can follow me as Dyson Demons as well. So thank you so much for watching this one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.